This is for my brother. I have many brothers. This is for my oldest brother. We're actually Irish twins, and that means that we were born in the same year. He's born at the beginning of the year, and I'm born at the end. Our energies are super different. Now, I used to have your real chart, brother, but I couldn't seem to find it for some reason. So this is just a guesstimation of what your birth time is. It's in the middle of the afternoon. There's a lot of consistencies over the day, so we're going to talk about those things. Okay, today we are going to go through a 3-part experience. What is human design is part 1. Part 2 is how do you say your yes and no, brother? And part 3 is just some brain candy to add to that. Okay. Part 1, what is human design? Well, you have been educated a little bit on what human design is, so we don't need to stick here long, but ultimately it's your purpose in life, how you say your yes and no, and it allows your profile to emerge. You can see that right there in front of us, and it also allows your incarnation cross, which is your purpose, to flow through you. So your incarnation cross is right here in front of us. I'm going to move it a little so that you can see it. The right angle cross of the Maya. This is the only time that we're going to talk about it, but if you want to Google it, you're more than welcome to. But you do need to keep in those numbers that are there too. So we're going to center that back to this screen. So yes, human design allows your purpose to emerge, your profile to emerge. So what is your profile? It's your behavioral costume. This is how you see yourself and others see you. Your incarnation cross is your purpose. So with every choice you make, whether that choice is to do it or not to do it, you are allowing your purpose to flow through you. And if the answer is you don't know, then you don't know is the answer as well. And that allows your purpose to flow through you. All right. So human design, your energetic blueprints, how you say your yes and no for you specifically so that your energy can go in the proper direction in life. That is what human design is. All right. So we're going to move on to part 2. Now, thing is that I don't have your exact time of birth. So I don't know half of what how you say your yes and no is. Why? I'll just go over the jargon for it with you here first. If we see here, this is not defined in the morning. And if you're born in the afternoon, then this is defined. So that's a really important piece of information to know. So that's why it's very important to have your exact time of birth. What does that mean? Well, I'm just going to completely avoid that topic because I don't know which one is you for sure. So I'm going to give you half of how you say your yes and no. All right. So strategy and authority is how a person says their yes and no. Strategy and authority, your choice mechanism. How do you say your proper yes and no? That's what strategy and authority is in human design jargon. So your authority is what we don't know about. So we're not going to talk about your authority today. But we are going to talk about your strategy today. So strategy, wait for the invitation. We've kind of talked about this in person, but I'm going to really jump into it deeply. What is strategy for you? What does wait for the invitation really mean? Okay, so wait. That is half of the sentence. Waiting doesn't mean to disengage with life or to sit there with your thumb up your pooper. But what waiting really means is you're stopping the deconditioned behavior that you were taught. And you're allowing the true energy to emerge as to what's correct for you. So when you're waiting for life to happen instead of you trying to force life to be. So waiting once again, isn't stopping life, but waiting is just, we were taught to act a certain way in a particular situation. And when those situations happen, it's just best to wait. Allow your energy to see what emerges as an answer. Waiting also means that you're not having all of these pre-plans of going out and doing things. People come to you for your mastery. But once again, like I said, it doesn't mean that you're disengaged. If something floats your boat, then go out and try it, and then you'll know if it's correct for you once you're there or not. So strategy for you is waiting. I mean, for all people, they have to just stop what the conditioned behavior is. All people. So that's what the waiting part is. But wait for the invitation. What's the other half of that sentence? Well, you have a lot of things that you're passionate about. You're passionate about the weed realm. You're passionate about the mushroom realm. You're passionate now about the spiritual realm. So I bet you notice that when you initiate a conversation that has nothing to do with those, people kind of just look off into the clouds, or they start tapping on their phone, or they start digging in their pockets or their purse. But I bet when somebody asks you about weed or about mushrooms or about your other passions, people just sit down and just listen for hours. I actually want to use an example. You went out on the boat and people are asking you questions. How is your seasickness? How are your hands? Are you getting windburned? Are you getting along with your colleagues? How are you faring with the weather? What's it like in winter? And people were listening to you like very deeply about what it was that you were doing. So I'm sure you can tell the difference in energy and when I'm speaking about it, because you could bring yourself to all those positions where people were looking away or digging in their pockets when you were trying to say something passionately to them. So that's what waiting for the invitation means, is the invite for your mastery, the invite for your thoughts. Being recognized can be another word that we use here. Recognition. I recognize that you are a person who is great with their hands and you can get her done. I recognize that you are such a caring person. So those are recognitions and invitations as well. And those are things that you are a mastery at, and you are here for. I mean, I think I just said wrong things there, because it's for you to wait for the invite to see what your mastery is. I don't mean the things that I just said or named were the things that you were a master at. Sorry. So, you are a person who needs to wait to be seen or recognized or invited into particular situations for your projector self to be guided, or to guide people. So as a projector, you are a guide. As a projector, you are a master at something, and you are here to know the other. You're here to study the other. When we're talking about being a projector, there's actually 3 different types of projectors, and you're actually an energy projector. And with that being said, you actually absorb other people's energies all day long, and it's actually very important for you to have your own space to get rid of all of that energy that you have absorbed throughout the day. Otherwise, you're just going to fall asleep as yourself, or, sorry, you're going to fall asleep as someone else, and you're going to wake up as someone else. And you just want to make sure you are yourself. Disperse that energy that you've accumulated. Dad is an energy projector as well, and he does that by taking walks or having his naps after work. So there's a lot of different things that I could say to you, but right now we were talking about how you say your yes and no. Well, although you are an energy projector, you do have your spleen defined. Now, that I'm kind of going into part 3, just the brain candy stuff. So anything that I say now is just extra. Although you have the possibility of having your solar plexus defined, you have a split definition. This means that you are not an instantaneous person, but your body does understand what is correct for you, what is safe for you and safe and healthy for you, what is correct for your behavior, what's worth being risky for. So your body might be repulsed by something. Maybe when somebody steps into your energy, you just take a step back and you don't know why you did that. Or maybe when you walk by the kitchen to go downstairs, you grab something that you didn't intend to eat on the way down. And maybe you just needed some trans fats or like some omegas or something like that. And your body just naturally grabbed it and your brain wasn't involved at all. So your body has the capability of having these primal instinctual things happen, and it's for you to just not necessarily stop those things from happening, but just pay attention to why you could have been doing those things. But just because I said that you have the capability of understanding what's correct for you regarding riskiness or not, I'm not telling you that you can just go out and be risky. No. Your body will tell you what is worth being risky for or not, and that'll be that. All right. Now, my mouse is on a channel. I'm going to tell you something here, brother. You'll notice that the number 44 exists here. If we go over to the left-hand side, the red colors, you'll see 44 is here, 44 is here. So you actually have 44 twice. And you'll notice that if we go over to the black side, 26, where is it? 26 here. 26 is a gate and it goes here. So the reason why, okay, 2 gates make a channel. This is a life force energy that describes who you are. It's what you put out into the world. It's consistent for you. And because you have the 44 and the 26, that makes that channel. That's what makes these centers on each side. That's what makes them defined. So if we go up to here, you can find this 24 over here, right there. And you can find the 61 colored in over here. So that's channel is what makes these 2 centers defined. All right, so we're going to be talking about your channels, and we're going to be talking about the colored in centers, which is definition, and then we're going to be talking about the non-colored in centers, which is undefined. So we're only going to be talking about the consistencies that I saw over the 3 charts. And the consistencies that I saw over the 3 charts were this channel here, 32 to 54. This channel here, 44 to 26. And this channel here, 61 to 24. And I will have to turn around because I do forget the name of this one specifically. So let's go ahead and do that. So, firstly, we're going to talk about the defined centers. This here, this is called the root center, the one on the bottom, the brown one. You have a fixed way of understanding pressure. And even if people try to pressurize you, I mean, you still are going to go at your own pace. If we go up to the very top, the yellow triangle, this is called the head center. And it's pretty much the same thing. It's about a mental pressure. You have a particular way in which you think. And you have a particular way in which you assimilate those thoughts. And it's actually quite unique. It's individual energy, the 61 to the 24, the channel of awareness, a design of individuality. It says it right there. It's about these thoughts that are so unique and new. It's like, where did that come from? Oh, I don't know. That's where that comes from. You are a person who is going to investigate your thoughts. You are a person who is going to have this new awareness that you might not even be comfortable telling people about until you have this investigation already done. You want to get this solid grasp, this foundation beneath your feet before you go ahead and do anything or tell anybody about that. But yes, people will recognize your individuality, your uniqueness, as you allow yourself to hermitize and have that unique and special gift. What is that? Well, you may not know, because guess what? This channel of awareness, it's this unique things flowing through. You don't know until it happens. So if you ever felt that you thought differently than anybody else, yeah, maybe you do. I also want to say that having this yellow and this green section colored in or defined, this one here, this upside down triangle is called the ajna. It's rare to have that defined. 30% of the population have that defined. So, therein you would feel unique anyway. So people wouldn't be able to pressure you physically or mentally to get things done because you had your own timing regarding that. You are meant to be this unique individual with your own timing. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this center over here, over on the left. It's called the spleen. It's about this primal awareness. It's about understanding at the primal level what you need, like roof over your head, food, shelter, etc. And your body is going to act in a certain way that those needs are met. That's what we're talking about here. So you understand what is safe for you. You understand what is correct for you or not, and you are able to release those from your life when need be. This is, we can see the definition right here that makes that happen. But over here, we see the definition that makes that happen, that channel. But over here, this is the heart center. It's not about love. It's about willpower and commitment. So it's about having this consistent access to willpower and commitment. So if you say, I will, or you really do commit to something, you will commit to something. But it has to be correct for you in order for you to be able to start and finish it. All right, so let's talk. Like I said, we're avoiding this one, so let's talk about that in a synthesized way. Brother, you are a person who understands what is the correct timing, both physically and mentally, for what is correct for you, because you understand how to assimilate that correctly for you, because you understand what is the correct what is healthy for you, and you will have the willpower to make that happen, or the sense of commitment to be able to make that happen. All right, so let's talk about this channel here. This is a channel of surrender, a design of a transmitter. So you have something to say to your tribe. You are meant to have something to say to your tribe, but you need to wait for the invitation, for your message to be distributed to the ears that are meant to hear that message. So you got to wait for your mastery to be seen. You got to wait for your awesome to be heard, for the people who want to hear it. All right. So now we have this final channel here, the 32 to 54. Honestly, I forget the name of this, so I'm going to turn around. The channel of transformation, a design of being driven. So you understand who's got the talent to do what. And it's funny that this is being said right now, because I remember you being at college and you're like, there's no honor in being the valedictorian of my class because everybody else is a dumbass. You saw who had the talent or not in that particular situation. But it's all about seeing who has talent and making it to the top, and but not making it to the top based on sleeping with the boss or, screwing everybody else to get to that place too. You understand how to get to the top. And once again, you need to wait to be recognized for that awesomeness. Otherwise, your ability to see that is just going to be wasted on deaf ears. Now, from what it seems, you are a very tribal person. So you have this here, you have this here. Those are very tribal channels. Even if you do have this, which I'm not going to talk about, it is a tribal channel as well. Now, this is a very unique one. So the only way that the tribe is going to recognize you is from you allowing your unique awareness just to be. Allow it just to flow. Wait for the invitation. Just stop trying to make life happen and allow life to happen. And you and I literally ended up at the same spot at the same time the other day because you just followed that instinctual awareness that you said that you followed. It felt like you just had to get out of line, and there you were. So, you are a split definition, and depending on what time of day you were born, it just depends on what that means. Now, you're a large definition, or a large split definition, which means that, it takes a few gates to connect the energy that's down bottom here to the energy that's up there. You'll notice that there's a little section of energy here. You'll notice that there's a little section of energy here, and it's split off from one another. So we would need the gate 17 and maybe, I don't know, the gate 1 and the gate 29 to connect it all. But long story short, because it's a wide split, you might feel like the world is the problem. It's not you that's the problem. So when things go wrong, you might blame it on, oh God, the world's just out of whack. That's the reason why. So I wonder if that happens for you. Okay. So we're going to talk about your profile, your 1-3. This is where your 1 comes from. This is where your 3 comes from. You're like, well, why is it 1-3? 1 is over on the right side and 3 is over on the left side. Shouldn't it be the other way around? No. The black numbers over here, personality, they're more conscious, so you're more aware of them. So that's why the 1's over here, because you're more aware of it. The 3's over here, It's on the second hand because you're not so aware of it, but it is a part of who you are. So your profile. Okay. Like I said before, this emerges. Your profile is your costume in life. How you say your yes and no. Sorry. Fuck me. Your profile in life is how you see yourself and how others see you. So if you're on the stage of life, let's just say that you are like literally on a play, in a play, and the costumes person tried to give you a costume that was for a person who was 4'2". Dude, you're like plus 6 foot. If you try to cram yourself into that costume, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's probably going to explode. Even if you do fit into it, it's probably going to rip. So that's what it feels like to live according to what other people expect from you. Life is going to feel not so comfortable. It's going to feel like maybe it's exploding, or maybe it's, maybe it's going to rip at the seams somewhere. But when you are living your proper profile, when you are saying your yes and no for who you are, your profile is going to merge correctly, and life is just going to feel just better. And how should life feel for you? Well, people looking at you, you looking in at yourself, you're a person who enjoys the investigation stage of things. You enjoy looking into things. You enjoy that perpetual research. You want to make sure that your footing is solid before you take that step. So just research, foundation, making sure that you know before you externalize. So that was like the oneness of it, but the threeness of it is like the trial and error. You're a person who's going to bump into things, make bonds, break bonds. You're going to run into things and trial and error it, tear it down, see what's wrong with things, build it back up again, tear it down, etc. So let's put those two together. You're a person who researches and bumps into things. That's awesome. You are of the most resilient type of profile out there, because without you, the Leaning Tower of Pisa would probably be leaned all the way over and fallen over, because there was no research put into it. There was no trial and error put into it, So you are of the most resilient type of profile. We need you to make the world better. So thank you for being the person who researches and bumps into that thing and sees the holes in it and makes it better. Now, growing up, if people are looking at you and they're in their not self, if people are just bitching and complaining, then they're going to say, what's wrong with you bumping into all that stuff? No, they shouldn't be saying that. What they should be saying is, oh, look at you. You found the error in that thing again. Congratulations. Let's see if we can work on it together and research how things could be better together. So your profile is to research and to bump into things. Research, bump into it again. Trial and error. See what's wrong with it or not. See if it needs more research or not. So I'm not going to talk anything about your incarnation cross. Like I said, if you want to Google it, you can. Like I said, again, I don't have your exact time of birth, but if you do have your exact time of birth, you would get more accurate numbers down here, and it does matter. So we said that we would also talk about the stuff that's not colored in. These three. This could be not colored in as well, but whatever. Let's talk about these three. Here is the throat. If you're acting not self, what is not self? Not self is you trying to force life to happen, or you're initiating everything instead of waiting for the invitation. That's not self. If you're not self, you're going to try to make yourself be seen, or literally the opposite, not be seen at all. So taking extra steps to be seen or not. Now, down here is your G center, and this is all about love, identity, direction. So I like this particular center because if you walk into a place and you're like, not for me, then it really is not for you. Your G center is guiding you in the proper direction, and it is such a gift that you have it undefined. Because maybe the place across the street is the place where you need to be, and you're going to get the proper experiences with the proper people. You say that you seem to be in the proper place at the proper time. And this is directing you. So continue to allow yourself to be directed by that. You've gotten 2 jobs by just being in the proper place at the proper time. This is showing you that. But if you are in your not self, if you're trying to force this direction, love, or identity, then yeah, maybe you're just going to try to stick with something for a long time. Maybe why don't you finish stuff that you start? Maybe you'll try to finish stuff that you start. That's a not self. If you feel like finishing it, then you will. It'll get done. All right. And this one's kind of an important one for you. This one here is the sacral. Now, this here is all about, you can kind of compare it to the Energizer Bunny. You know, you can go, 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 go. And that's what the not self for you is. Do you know when enough is enough? So how do you know when enough is enough for you? How do you know what the proper direction is? How do you know what the proper time to be seen is? Well, you wait for the invitation. How do you also know that you are acting not self? Well, we can look at this not self theme, which is bitterness. Brother, where are you bitter in life? It's going to indicate to you where something needs to change. Now, just because I say you're bitter and something needs to change, I'm not telling you that you need to start something or stop something. Maybe something just needs to change a little. For example, my not self theme is frustration. I was really frustrated at my last job because of my boss. He got fired. I was no longer frustrated. You know, the rarity of that happening is very rare. My boss getting fired. So usually people end up leaving their jobs, but I didn't have to. So, okay, here's a little tidbit. Our brain actually tries to fill in the blanks here, and it tries to be what the white parts are in your chart, and that's not you at all. So let me try to tell you what your brain thinks you are. Your brain thinks that you're a person who can go, 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 go because they know what direction they're going in life, because they know how to be seen properly. So the not self theme is actually a signpost. Maybe some people might think it's like, oh my God, I'm bitter again. No, to me, this is a chance to up level. What aren't you doing for yourself correctly? What needs to change? And then at that point, you use your strategy and authority to be able to move through that. Okay. So this is just an introductory to human design. There's a lot of different things that we could talk about regarding human design, like these arrows are variables, and that means that we can talk about how you learn, what type of digestion you have. We can talk about the type of environment you need to be in to be successful, the type of people you need to be around in order to be successful, where you're going or where you're coming from, where you're going. We can talk about how you communicate, what are your values in life. We can talk about connections with other people, etc. It goes on. Human design is beautiful, but the reason why human design is different than everything else out there is that human design talks about how you make your proper decision for you and you only. I found no other system out there that explains that, and This also, it tells you your purpose. A lot of people say, oh, I have no purpose in life, and it really upsets them. Dude, it's right here. Well, my camera's covering it, but it's right here. So I really hope that you enjoyed this, brother. I've been literally waiting for years to have this opportunity to do this for you, but we just need to be on the same page, and I'm glad that you're finally interested in learning more about human design. So, yeah, I hope this piqued your interest more, and I hope that you go deeper.